continue on. We're gonna continue with the show, and I like to open up with the Ghost Rider, because for me, it's one of my personal favorite stories. It's a very sad story about an altar boy who lost his way. He ringing bells, and then he decided he was going to be the rider of the ghosts. Nobody was ever going to find him.
If you're going to ride a ghost,
never again.
So, we decided to review a classic comic, which we've never done before.
Well, we're doing Halloween, right? So we're doing something that, and as you know, Marvel, DC, Image, whatever. This is a great Halloween character. This is Ghost Rider, and it's brilliant. It's amazing. Here's a guy who is, and if everyone's seen the film, right? His dad's dying, or in this case, his adopted father is dying, and he makes a deal with the devil because he reads the scripture and his satanic Bible, and it's great.
But George, before you continue, the little boys and girls that are at home watching the show right now, who maybe they are inspired by comic books, is very bad.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the hell.
Well, you don't want them. You don't want them to. No, it's fun. It's great stuff. It's like worshiping Satan, and it's putting pentagrams on your chest, but it's not a pentagram. It's actually literally that gold star you get in class. Like the art is bad.
No.
It's 1972 art.
Wait,
it's Ghost Rider.
I just gotta say, okay, we each read a different issue because these are all available in Essential Ghost Rider Volume 1. We read the color versions, the reprints. But the one I read was written by Mike Freidrich and drawn by Jim Mooney, who's a classic 60s artist who used to draw Supergirl.
No, the art is amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
The issue I read,
if he was still dead,
I don't know.
It would be
art
great.
is, and you know what? It's in that awkward, comic books have a weird history because we tend to remember the 60s stuff and the new stuff. We forget everything in between, and this is a period that's sort of forgotten. The 70s period where the comic book, what is it called? The authority was relaxed a little bit.
Yeah.
So they were allowed to do horror titles finally. So there's this huge barrage of titles like Tomb of Dracula, Werewolf by Night, Spawn of Frankenstein, Ghost Rider, all these horror characters, and this is one of them. And it's clumsy dialogue and silly situations, but I recommend it because if you like 70s comics, you're gonna love this. I think it's great. And they deal with Satan. It's not Mephisto at this point, the ones that I read. Sorry, it's Satan. It's the real Satan.
Oh, no, they're talking about Satan.
You're absolutely right that both the art and the dialogue is extremely clumsy, but it's fun. It's nostalgic. It reminds me, read it. When you're reading it, you have to kind of have that narrator's voice from classic cartoons in your head, right?
Stan Lee.
On a burning Harley Davidson. Meanwhile, right? But what really surprised me is how little kind of action there is going on in a lot of the frames. For a title about a guy with a flaming skull on a motorbike. So much is told through the dialogue itself. In issue number 1 that precedes yours, I read, Ghost Rider has to escape a hospital. He says, I have to escape the hospital. In the next panel, he's outside and he goes, I did it, thanks to that service entrance that nobody was looking at. But it's
classic.
It is classic, and it's fun.
It was dealing with, it's 1972. We're talking about bikers. There's a great panel in this book where Ghost Rider has to go save the surrogate father,
the stepfather,
and he's got to do this thing, but because Mr. Simpson's daughter loves him so much, he can't quite take his soul or something. I can't quite understand what's going on. And he's going off, and as Ghost Rider, full flaming skull head, in the middle of Manhattan, and he's riding down Manhattan, and there's just this great little character off to the side with this little paper hat on going, I've been selling happiness on this corner for 30 years. I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
There was a scene in the issue that I read that just tickled me so much. It tickled me pink. And I don't think you'll see this anywhere else in the history of Ghost Rider, the history or the future. A scene where Ghost Rider hails a cab.
Yes, I read that one. I read that one.
Hailing a cab, but there's moments where he's like, I am burning with a desire to tell this man with his emerald green eyes the truth. Like, there's just, it becomes so overwritten and so ridiculous that this is where they thought they were writing to a different audience. Here were people, men and women, whatever, trying to create an industry here, but they thought they were writing for children. But they didn't realize they were writing for themselves and us. And it wasn't until maybe Vertigo or Watchmen or something like that where it got into, we realized that there is more than just kids that were reading comics. And this is just as that kind of manifests itself. So you've got this really just hilarious stuff going on. But it's about Hell's Angels. It's about Satanism. It's about
definitely
the Catholic
different,
Church. It's about politics. It's about, it has all those things in there.
Did you say it was about the Catholic Church? If it was, then it's a thumbs up with us. But before we go to break, because we have to go to break.
We should do something Catholic?
No, I wanted to know, no, I just want to know an answer because I didn't read it. I didn't read it.
Season renewal.
I did not read this issue. Did he end up finding the cab? Yeah.